as I said, welcome to the Islamic House of Wisdom. The way that tonight's program is going to roll is we're going to have a brief English discussion, followed by the Arabic presentation with Sayyid Hatem al-Shugr, and then inshallah at the same time around 11 p.m. there will be a bonfire outside with s'mores and hot chocolate, inshallah, for those that are interested. Today I just wanted to bend your ear for about 10-15 minutes, if that's okay with all of you, regarding a topic in which I feel like throughout my life and throughout the lives of the individuals that I know, it's very prominent, and it's this topic of confusion. And a lot of the times when we go throughout life, we reach a stage in which we are confused. And in today's society, no matter where you're from, where you live, what corner of the world that you live in, what you wear, what your culture is, what you eat, all individuals from all faiths, whether you believe or you don't believe, everybody has trials and tribulations. Everybody goes through hardship. And for those that are believers in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His holy book and the Prophet and his family, these hardships become a little bit easier. You know, everything is available to us. They call the 21st century the digital age, the information age, where everything is available at a click of a button. Click, clack, Google, there you go. Whatever you don't know, whatever information that you're lacking, Google is available. The internet is available. And it's disappointing. Individuals like myself, with the technology being so vast, so easy, that we still have misunderstandings, we still have gaps when it comes to our faith, when it comes to our religion. That even though that we have it available to us, we still have holes. And these holes lead to problems. These holes lead to confusion. And as this confusion starts to develop, we start to become open targets. We start to question ourselves. We start to question our identity, our lives, our purpose, our spirituality. And it leads to this mental suicide, where we get so far into confusion, we get so bogged down in confusion, that we start questioning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How come I lost my job? How come I didn't land that job? How come I'm struggling in school? How come I didn't get admitted into that school? How come my family member had to get into that car accident? How come I'm sick? Why am I in the hospital? And you go and you go and you go further and further asking questions. It gets to a point where you're no longer asking about your own life. You're not only questioning your own existence, but you start questioning the events that occur around the world. Oh Allah, why is there poverty? Why is there hunger? Why is there killing? Why is there wars? And you start questioning this. And you say, oh Allah, there's so many mosques. There's so many people praying. There's so many people doing dua, right? And with all these individuals praying for their brothers and sisters across the globe, there's still these world issues. And they get to this point in their lives where they say, you know what? If my prayer and my dua doesn't help my own situation, if it's not helping anybody else's situation around the world, then why should I do it? What's the point of reciting dua? What's the point of doing prayer? And so, as a result of this confusion, you have different groups of people that respond in different types of manners. You have one that responds to this frustration and says, you know what, I'm going to abandon my prayer. They turn their head down and they walk away. They say, this prayer is not benefiting me. Whether I pray or not, I'm still in the same situation. So they abandon prayer. But it's interesting because when you abandon prayer, the Quran explains to us with a sentence, with an ayah, the purpose of prayer. It says, Inna salati tanha anil fahsha. This prayer was given to you, what? As a tool to prevent wrongdoing. So now you have this individual who was confused, who now abandoned prayer, and now through the abandonment of prayer, his situation gets worse and worse. He digs himself into a further ditch. Why? Because he's missing this tool of prayer. And it's not enough that he himself is misguided now. You know, when we were younger and we used to get in trouble, we used to get sent down to the principal's office. When we would go down alone, we'd be really scared. But if we go down with a friend, if we were getting in trouble with a friend, we'd be really excited. It wasn't as bad anymore. When you get in trouble with a friend, it's not as bad as opposed to getting in trouble by yourself. So the same concept works with those individuals who are misguided. It doesn't stop there. They spread that infection to those around them. And in Surah Al-Hajj, Allah talks about those who not only begin to mislead themselves, but mislead others as well. And that misleading of others is done in a manner in which, if I bring up religion, when we all know individuals like this, where you bring up religion with them, and just because you're talking about religion, they just find the urge to argue. When you bring up faith with them, they have no knowledge or wisdom regarding the topic, but for the sake of arguing, they want to argue. And in Surah Al-Hajj it says, مَنْ يُجَادِلُ فِي اللَّهِ بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ. Right? People dispute about Allah without knowledge. If there's an initiative in the community that has good intentions, you'll always have somebody that comes and says, oh, you know what? Who knows what this program is going to do? Right? You always have the naysayers, those that are negative. They have no information regarding the topic, yet they talk the most. And the Quran goes on to say, and in this verse, it goes on to explain that they speak about Allah, yet they have no knowledge. On the other hand, we have individuals who may not completely abandon their faith. They don't walk away from prayer, but they're barely hanging on by a string. They barely make their prayers. And we've all been there. I know I've been there. Where you barely make your prayers. And when you come to the mosque, you do your best to come to the mosque, but you can't sit down for too long. You get a little bit antsy. And you gotta run up, you gotta leave. You come for 10, 15, 20 minutes, then you're like, you know, I don't feel comfortable here. And you leave. So there is that other group. And we call this group of individuals those that are living life on the edge. And the Quran goes on in Surah Al-Hajj. And it says, وَمِنَ النَّاسَ مَنْ يَعْبُدُ اللَّهُ عَلَى حَرْفٍ. What is this harf? Harf means edge. So you're not completely abandoning faith, but you're on a cliff where the wind can blow you either which way. And the verse continues, and it says, فَإِنَّ أَصَابَهُ خَيْرٌ اطْمَعَنَّ بِهِ وَإِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ فِتْنَةٌ. If good things happen to these individuals, those individuals that are hanging on the cliff, those individuals that are living on the edge, if good happens to them, if everything is going good, then they feel reassured. Oh, okay, everything's fine. But on the other hand, when we test them with trial, the verse is saying when we test them with trial, they turn their face away. And I think it's beautiful that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when speaking to us, He used the term trial in this verse. Meaning what? Meaning it's a test for you and I. You claim that you're a believer. You claim that you hold your faith uptight with strength. Okay, come, let me see. Can you see my magnificence through this test? Can you trust me through this tribulation? And this is where trust and dua comes in, brothers and sisters. And Allah in the Quran says, do you think I'm out to get you? You think it's my mission to come at you? You think I enjoy punishing? You think that's my goal? And when we have good times, we move smoothly. And when things are going bad, when things are drastically difficult, we forget. But this is where trust and dua comes in, brothers and sisters. And sometimes we have this wrong misconception of dua. I'll give you an example. Somebody who has an examination, right? Doesn't study one day for it. Doesn't even know what the subject matter is about. He goes into the examination room and prays, oh Allah, give me the top score. And then you have somebody who invested the weeks, invested the months, studied the material, and now he goes in and his dua sounds a little bit like, oh Allah, allow me to apply the knowledge that I acquired on this exam to pick the correct answers. And I'm just giving you this analogy so I can get to a point here. And then I just want to give, you have a person on an island, for example. He's stuck on an island. And he prays to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he says, "Oh Allah, this sea, this water in front of me, dry it up, make it land, and let me get back home." But you see, brothers and sisters, the key thing about dua, I feel, is that dua is not meant to change the reality around us. Dua, the nature of dua is to change the nature within us. We live in a time where everything happens instantaneously. I go to a restaurant, if my food isn't on the table in 10 minutes, I'm out. Thumbs down, bad review, never coming back. Ajil, yallah, buddo. On the table, I eat my food. If it's not there, not coming back. Amazon Prime, if that package isn't in front of my house in one day, I'm never ordering from this person again. Bad review, gone, khalas. And now we've taken this same mentality, because look, we live in a day and age where we feel like we need to get served. And not only do we feel like we need to get served, we need to feel like we get served exactly at the moment that we asked for it. That's how technology has advanced. We've become people that need service. And so now we take this instant service and we apply it with our communication with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we make dua, and we see, oh, His service doesn't come right away sometimes, so we turn our face back, sometimes we give a bad review and we walk away. When life is going good, like I said, when life is going good, smooth sailing. And we forget about Allah. He's not even in the picture. But then Allah removes one thing from us. I tell you, when I get sick and my friends call me to go hang out, I don't even want to hang out. I don't have the energy for it. They want to go, they want to eat. I can't even taste anything because I'm sick. I don't want to eat. The only thing on my mind is, oh Allah, remove this sickness from me. Or I might find myself in the hospital. And the only thing on my mind is getting out of the hospital. So what do? I say, oh Allah, and we've all been there, where we say, oh Allah, I don't want anything else. Please, please, just do this one thing for me. Just help me get better. Help me regain this health. And I'll be a good Muslim. I'll be okay. I don't need anything else from you. And we spend days and days and days supplicating and praying because this trial has hit us. And we're now in the hospital. And you and I, we miss something. You see, when you're in that hospital, when you're undergoing that trial or tribulation in life, which causes you to get down on your knees and pray, it's those same moments that are going to come and aid you in the hereafter. Those brief moments, those however many days you were in the hospital or however many days you were out of a job, praying to Allah, communicating with Him like you've never communicated before, it's those moments that Allah's giving you an opportunity to communicate with Him, so that in the hereafter, hopefully that can aid you. We sometimes forget that we're on life support. Before we undergo a major operation in the hospital, whatever it may be, when everything is going good, we seem to forget that we're on life support. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at any moment, if He takes away one thing from all the things that you possess, just one thing, just a sickness or anything regarding your health, your money, one thing, He brings it down a little bit, He can have you on your knees. And we seem to forget that we're on life support. And whether you believe in Allah or not, whether you're a believer or a disbeliever, everybody goes through trials and tribulations. Everybody. But I tell you, the one that believes, he has this sense of calmness in him. When he's sick, when he lost his family, when he doesn't have a good source of income, when he has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala compared to somebody who doesn't, he has this sense of calmness. And I just want to wrap up with one thing. It's a passage that I read in Nahj al-Balagha, Amir al-Mu'mineen. An ocean of knowledge, brothers and sisters. An ocean of knowledge. And it's not even him sitting down and writing down things for us. He shares with us his experiences. And it's from those experiences where we could truly learn. Amir al-Mu'mineen one day was walking, and he seen a man by himself complaining, cursing at the world. Why did this happen to me? Why is the world doing this to me? There's so many billions of people on earth, and out of all the people that trials and tribulations has to hit, it has to hit me, and he's complaining, and he's complaining. And I read this story, and I feel like I'm that man. I'm that same person throughout life. We've all complained. We've all turned our heads up to the sky and says, why? And Amir al-Mu'mineen, although he's talking to this one person, I feel like he's talking to all of us. And he goes on to this man who's complaining, and he says, "O you who are blaming the world, who have been allured and enticed by it, and have been tempted by its false pretenses. You allowed yourself to be captivated by it, and then you accuse and blame it? Have you any reason or right to accuse it and call it a sinner and seducer? Or is the world not justified in calling you a sinning hypocrite? When did this world make you lose your intelligence and your reasoning? What did this world do to you that you lost all sense of intelligence, all sense of understanding? Did it keep you in the dark about your fathers who are under the grave? Did it keep the resting place of your mother a secret from you? Many times you have attended the sick, and many of them prayed and sat down and got the best of medicines, rounded up the best of physicians, and you're crying, and your physicians, and your doctors, and your medicine, none of it was able to save that sick person. None of it was able to prolong that sick person's life. And in this drama, and in this tragedy, did the world not present you with a lesson and a moral? And Amir al-Mu'mineen gets to this one line that really hits home for me. And it really helps me understand. And I'm hoping it does the same for all of us. He looks at this man and he says, "Who are you to abuse this world when it has openly declared its mortality and the mortality of everyone connected with it? Who are you to blame this world?" You see, if there's one thing that everybody on this earth agrees on, there's what, over 7 billion of us? If there's one thing that all 7 billion, 8 billion individuals on this earth agree on, is that death is for certain. That is something that everybody agrees. And so Amir al-Mu'mineen, through his passage, through this story, explains to us. He tells us, look, this world is going to perish one day. And you've seen the evidences of those that are connected with this world. They have perished and they will continue to perish. But here, Amir al-Mu'mineen says, look at the bright side though. This world was put in a place that's given us an opportunity to acquire knowledge, to acquire wisdom. It's on this same earth that Allah gave revelation to His Prophet. And it's on this same earth we have the opportunity to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And I want to leave with this one last note. In Surah Al-Ankabut, which is one of the surahs that inshallah we will be reciting on Laylatul Qadr, the verse goes and says, and it's talking about all of us. And the verse says, and when they board a ship, they supplicate to Allah. But when Allah delivers them to the land, they forget. And I think about my own life. When I board a plane, and the plane starts shaking, and there's turbulence, what is the first thing I think of? Allah. Oh Allah, please deliver me to this land. Allow me to make it safely. I'll be a better Muslim if you just let this plane land, please. Or I'm on a cruise ship, and the crew starts shaking. Oh Allah, please allow this cruise ship to dock, please. And then as soon as that cruise ship docks, a couple of days goes on. As soon as that plane lands, a couple of days goes on, and we start to forget again, and forget. And that's what's so beautiful about this month. it offers us an opportunity to rejuvenate ourselves. You know, in the pharmacy we have a 30-day supply of medication, and we have to continuously refill it every single month. But the beauty of the holy month of Ramadan is you have a 30-day supply, and it lasts you for the next 11 months until the next year. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Brothers and sisters, we will continue to have our daily discussions, inshallah, with different guest speakers throughout the holy nights of Ramadan. Every Thursday and Friday, the mosque will be offering iftar dinner. We will not be selling tickets at the door, just so that we can have an idea of how many individuals are coming. So if you're interested in attending either of the iftars or both of them, please leave your name at the front office. And like I said, there is a bonfire for those of